Good evening, I'm Melissa Khan with your Wednesday, January 13th edition of News in Depth. We begin tonight's newscast by telling you some Rose Hall residents call for equal distribution of COVID-19 relief grant. More in this report. Some residents of Rose Hall Town are expressing disappointment with what they call the unfair distribution of the $25,000 COVID-19 cash grant.
Certain people, they give a whole household, and certain people, they just give one person. A person take rent to a person with a two-story house. One live downstairs, one live upstairs. And they only give the one who live upstairs, and then they give the one who live downstairs. Then again, they asking you if you own the house. If you don't own the house, you can't get nothing. And that is not fair.
Now, I got a friend, they got a family of 8. One working person. Could that money do for a month? Ration-wise, bill-wise, any otherwise?
Because some people living downstairs and then say it's only upstairs alone one person get in, and the person downstairs are renting one with them and they got pay rent. And it's not fair.
It's not fair that two family live in one yard and get 2 houses and then they give one and the next person then they give. You understand? I mean, that's how to give both a person because it's a family that live in and get children to go to school and thing, right? So me tell myself some man in both because that money can't really for the family them.
So you got to say both live in one place. So me get the money, he get them too. So I've never got no fair deal that thing there. That thing is an additional thing gone.
What I was saying, if 2 families live in one home, both families should have get the money.
In Rose Hall, there are a lot of people that are renting, and the owner collect the money, and the tenants did not collect.
I feel it unfair, man. The people that were sharing it, they buy us. Me knows who tell them to share it, but people within certain area, they just call them, they get a bottom house, and they share them on and give them. This is in the stronghold of the PPP. This is all I got to tell you.
Persons in different parts of the country have called for a level playing field in the distribution of the funds. Melissa Khan, News in Depth.
Shh. It's your new secret. The all-in-one weapon for perfecting imperfections and capturing flawless skin. A lot of brands forget women of color or just don't understand that we come in all shades. From caramel to ebony, there is such a range. Iman Cosmetics is for every woman and features a line of skincare products and cosmetics including 16 foundation shades, powder, concealer, lipstick, blush, eyeshadow, highlighter and BB cream. Visit us at Lot 75 Swamp Section, Rose Hall Town. That's behind the market. Or call 337-4422 or 688-9249. Shh.
Family violence is violence directed at another family member.
It can be physical, verbal, sexual, and more. Family violence leads to despair, destruction, and death.
It can happen to both men and especially women from any background. Children are especially vulnerable. And the stress and isolation due to the COVID-19 pandemic can increase family violence. Family violence is illegal in Guyana. If you or someone you know is experiencing gender-based violence, family-based violence, or sexual harassment, contact the Women and Gender Equality Commission at 231-5276 or 231-5298.
Or put an anonymous note in the post office boxes at the Guyana Human Rights Commission Building, the Guyana Post Office Corporation, the National Library, the Georgetown Public Hospital, and the University of Guyana.
Caribbean rice, from the lush rice fields of Guyana, straight to your home. Caribbean rice, our people, our rice.
Welcome back. GTU disappointed with the COVID-19 measures in place at schools across the country.
Parents are scared, teachers are scared because the conditions are not in place in the public school system. That's according to GTU General Secretary Coretta MacDonald. School is back in session from Forms 4, 5, and 6, but the concerns of the Guyana Teachers Union still remain.
Because you're testing the students who are going to be living in the dorms. But what about the students who are coming in and out every day? Nothing is happening with them. As a matter of fact, in schools, and let me use this one, Brickdam Secondary, just for the want of using a school, or maybe Richard Ishmael Secondary, nobody there was tested. But the students and the teachers are expected to be at school on the days when they have to conduct face-to-face interactions with their students. And so, what are we really saying? Are we really serious about controlling the spread of COVID? I don't think so.
MacDonald said safety and the welfare of teachers and students are their major concerns. She noted that representation was made by the GTU to the Ministry of Education.
One, transportation, that we should have a hold on transportation in the sense that we identify some form of transportation, and I'm not talking here that the ministry should provide free transportation if you can't afford it, but we just passed a 3 months budget with a whole set of monies, and then we had some additional sums just the other day. So there's money to provide transportation. So we're asking that transportation be looked at, or we asked for that before. We spoke about additional cleaners for schools so that we can have persons there manning toilet facilities, the walkways, and everywhere else where our students have got to move around. We spoke about that. We spoke about testing of students, testing of teachers. We spoke about the manner with which we are conducting our classes, that we should ensure that the spacing is enough. We spoke about the not only 3 masks, but additional masks for teachers as well as students. Because I can tell you what, these 3 masks that we have presented to the students, and we talk about, oh, they're washable, we can wash and wear. Have we done any kind of scientific research to determine whether it's wholesome for a child to be wearing 1 mask today for the whole day and another one tomorrow, or you wash this one today and you wear again tomorrow? Have we had any kind of test, any kind of scientific evidence to prove to us that these cloth masks that you give the children to wear, that it's wholesome for them? Outside of that, we talked about these the worksheets that we are doing and returning these worksheets. Do we have enough materials in schools? And these are things that we need to constantly monitor. But you know what? We were told at one meeting that if there isn't enough material, and I spoke about the care package that was offered to teachers. And I asked the question, how often or with what frequency are we going to replenish that? And I was told, well, the ministry didn't have to do that. But since the ministry is doing it now, when it runs out, the teachers will stop teaching. The teachers must buy that. And you see, we don't understand, some of us, when we get into positions, we don't understand what happens with the small man down.
The GTU General Secretary noted that COVID has added an additional expense to every household in Guyana.
And so, for teachers to have to be replenishing, not only for their home use, but for additional use in school, persons don't understand how much more you're adding that cost to teachers. Maybe with the $25,000 bonus, they probably think you could use the whole $25,000 and buy the alcohol and the wipes and the tissue and all kind of thing. But these were some of the proposals that we proposed to the Ministry of Education, hoping that they were going to take them into consideration. But like what we are seeing is, it's good for some places, but for other places, no. And I'm using the some places here, the departments of education, it's good for them. And let me say too that I found at schools where we have GTU officers, the ministry ensure or they make sure that it's right there. But we're saying we don't want you to make it right at schools where GTU officers are heading. We want you to make it right at every school.
Sexual harassment is any unwelcome act, comment, gesture, or physical contact.
Street harassment is sexual harassment, but it is no joke. A woman's dress or behavior must not cause sexual harassment.
Sexual harassment is unacceptable, unwanted, unfair, and unlawful.
And in our COVID-19 crisis, the risk of violence and sexual harassment is even higher.
If you or someone you know is experiencing gender-based violence, family-based violence, or sexual harassment, contact the Women and Gender Equality Commission at 231-5276 or 231-5298.
Or put an anonymous note in the post office boxes at the Guyana Human Rights Commission Building, the Guyana Post Office Corporation, the National Library, the Georgetown Public Hospital, and the University of Guyana.
Range. Iman Cosmetics is for every woman and features a line of skincare products and cosmetics including 16 foundation shades, powder, concealer, lipstick, blush, eyeshadow, highlighter, and BB cream. Visit us at Lot 75, Swamp Section, Rosal Town. That's behind the market. Or call 337-4422 or 688-9249. Shh.
Caribbean rice. From the lush rice fields of Guyana, straight to your home. Caribbean rice, our people, our rice.
Before we go, Guyana and the United States today signed an acquisition and cross-servicing agreement. Here is that report.
Guyana and the United States today inked an acquisition and cross-servicing agreement that will see joint maritime patrols between the two countries in Guyana's waters. That agreement was signed by Commander of the U.S. Southern Command Admiral Craig Fuller and Chief of Staff of the Guyana Defense Force Brigadier Godfrey Best. The defense partnership between the two countries includes collaboration against regional threats and challenges, capacity building, engagements, bilateral training, expertise exchanges, exercises, and participation in military education programs. Chief of Staff of the Guyana Defense Force Godfrey Best.
More pernicious threats are the transnational in character: terrorism, trafficking in narcotics, small arms, and human trafficking. These transnational threats undermine the rule of law and corrupt our youth and our institutions. They are a violent threat to national and regional security and stability. The smallness of the region's defense forces constrains their capacity to respond effectively and timely to several natural disasters. It is also impairs their efforts to arrest transnational threats such as the illicit trafficking in narcotics and small arms and human trafficking.
As I stand here alongside Brigadier Best, I'm reminded that cooperation is key to success against every single challenge we face. What does that cooperation look like? It's the participation of Guyanese officers in our training and military education programs. It's the partnership between your Defense Forces, General Best, and the Florida National Guard, our state partner for Guyana. As you mentioned, General, Guyana participates annually in Trade Winds, a multinational exercise that focuses on rapid response, disaster preparedness, and regional security. Guyana supports the ongoing maritime security initiatives to counter illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing. And in fact, this week we had a short exercise with a Coast Guard cutter as part of Operation Southern Cross.
Was at the signing that Fowler said the U.S. government has no plans on setting up a military base in Guyana.
The United States doesn't seek to have bases anywhere in the hemisphere. We seek to have the right military presence as invited by our sovereign partners. So we only come at the request of mutually agreed partnership for an exercise or training. And so our future presence here will be determined by our hosts, our friends. And that presence will be in the form of exercises and training. We gain so much from the experience working with forces in the jungle, in the rivers, and offshore.
Many believe that the move is strategic since the U.S. has indicted Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro on drug trafficking charges.
This agreement is about our bilateral relationship, and it's about our long-standing bilateral relationship, and it is not aimed at any nation state or any one particular threat. It's designed for us to be able to operate and train and exercise effectively together, period. The statement that our Secretary of State made is a fact. Nicolas Maduro is a convicted narco trafficker, and the evidence, hard evidence, significant increase in narco trafficking based out of Venezuela is there. We see it daily, and the hemisphere is impacted by that insecurity. The only one who benefits by that are Nicolas Maduro and his cronies.
Guyana and the United States are working on areas that can enhance the two sides' bilateral relationships.
And that has brought us to the end of our news for tonight. For these and other stories, visit our website at rdproductiongy.com or our Facebook and Instagram page at Royston Drakes Production. On behalf of our news team, thank you for joining us, and do join us again tomorrow for more news. Good night.